Hey, what's up, family? How's everybody doing? Yeah, I wanted to discuss something with you all here in regards to Tai Chi, actually into any of these Neigong practices. Neigong. So, if you don't know what Neigong is, I'll just simply say, I'll keep it simple, won't get too deep, but energy practices, right? So, I like to say five specific stages of development in all Neigong and Tai Chi practices. So first and foremost, number one, why should you be familiar with these 5 stages of development? Well, if you're serious about your practice and you have certain levels of attainment that you want to acquire, you should know the roadmap of how to get there. So by having these 5 stages of development, you can look at those and you can see exactly where you are and where you need to go. So first, we learn the form. The physical form, like the Tai Chi form. Most people do a long form. Some people do solo forms, like in Temple Tai Chi. We practice mostly single forms. So we want to learn these forms. And when I say learn the form, family, you want to go beyond the point where you're thinking about what the next movement is or how to do the next movement. These movements have to come to a point where they're just like right there, no thought at all. It's nothing to think about. You got to go really, really deep and get to the point where there's absolutely no thoughts. Now, of course, this is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. So first we learn the sequence, we learn how to get there, and it may be a little choppy. That's part of the process. But over time, you begin to graduate and the form begins to belong to you, belong to us as individuals, right? Because the form is like a book. It's the unwritten book. A lot of the old masters, they weren't able to read and write. So the way that they passed on this information was via the book, the form. The form is the book. It's like the alphabet to the practice. Now, let's say that you've been practicing for a number of years, because it does take a number of years to become familiar. I mean, deeply familiar with the movements. So now you've been doing that and you start focusing on really, really being focused, not on the movement itself, but how is this movement actually happening? You start to feel it deep inside of your body. So you become more and more familiar with your anatomy and how your anatomy works. One reason that learning the basic anatomy, basic human anatomy, is very, very important, well, at least it was to me, and it's helped me along my journey, and it continues to help me along my path. So knowing how the body operates, we begin to feel these little minute details of how things are actually taking place. So no longer are we focusing on the external. Notice I said we're going from outside to inside, because Tai Chi is a Neigong, or an internal practice. So we start on the outside, which is more physical, the form. And now we're feeling inside, how is this form happening? How am I moving? I'm using this deep, deep focus, meditation in motion at some point. So now that you feel these internal movements, you begin to say, wow, not only do I feel these things, I'm beginning to learn how to be in control of these things. I'm actually moving from the inside out. So here you are at level 3, and you're starting to generate some internal movement. Now notice, this is a roadmap. There's 5 stages. We're at number 3. This is the controlling the inside move. I like to call it the inside form. You've acquired the inside form at level 3. And by controlling the inside form, you have a deep, intimate relationship with how the muscles work, how the fascia network inside of our body works, how our tendons and ligaments are connected throughout our body, and how, when the connection of the mind, the breath, because the breathing apparatus is very important, the breathing method. We connect the body, the mind, and now we're starting to tune into what I will call a higher level of Tai Chi. You're no longer doing physical form anymore, because now, not only are you feeling, you're controlling. With that control, you begin to control all of these different mechanisms. You begin to generate more power now. Now you have arrived. The form has bared the fruit that you set out on the initial journey to acquire. Here we are. We have some internal power. Now, what do you do with this internal power? Hopefully you're doing the right thing, because internal power can be used for healing. And we should learn how to heal ourselves before we think about anything outside of ourselves. So now you start noticing that your health is getting a little better. Oh boy, have I been through a healing journey myself. And then you start to learn how to move that energy, that power, from the storage place into your hands, and from your hands outside of your hands. You become a healer now, and you become also a high-level internal practitioner. You've graduated now. You've leveled up. You've come up to stage number 5. No longer do you have inside form, because now, I back that up. No longer do you have outside form, because your form may look completely different from how it looked years ago, because it's matured, it's progressed. You went from a large external form to a medium-sized frame, to a small frame, to no form. You become formless at this point. Now you're an internal practitioner, and you're moving from the inside to the outside. So family, once again, I hope that this information is useful to you along your journey, because I just went over 5 specific stages of development that you can find in any Tai Chi system, any Neigong system, if it is a system. If what you're doing does not have these 5 stages, these 5 steps, you may want to question what you're doing. Is it internal? Is it Neigong? We'll go deeper on the 5 stages on the next video. Once again, Sifu Lester checking in and checking out from Tai Chi 360. Peace. Right back at you.